How's it going, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back. I've just noticed Phreak's previews come out, so I'm just going to quickly listen to this and I will do a quick summary of what I've got on my end as well. So might as well do a recording of it, listen to it together.
Is to Yorick's passive. We are this math out to be about 5% less damage from ghouls, just like the math works out to be that using his normal example builds as the math here. Generally speaking,
I would have rathered him actually say what build he's considering, because if Wright's come out in the past saying lethality Yorick is a problem or we want Bruiser Yorick, then at least tell us what build you're considering for that. The people are building Leandries on Yorick right now. What the fuck is a normal build?
Speaking, it is pretty clearly true by looking at data that ghouls are a larger portion of Yorick's power budget in low MMR. I think ghouls being a viable part of his kit and being part of what, like having Mistwalkers be part of what Yorick does is interesting, makes him unique, all positives. But the way they are structured right now, they are so incredibly low elo skewed that he's got really, really, really stark MMR by win rate by MMR differences here. And this is with a champion who is actually innately early game skewed. And early game skewed champions tend to be elite skewed, not low elo skewed. But Yorick, so much of his power is in ghouls and they're so easy to counterplay once you know how the game works, once you're like higher MMR, that he's just actually really, really strongly low elo skewed. And so peeling some damage away from ghouls is a way to very lightly offset that. Again, there is a world where there is larger Yorick work out there at some point in time to... A lot of things could theoretically change about this champion, right? But that is not where we are right now. So for now, it is simple.
In other words, don't get your hopes up, boys. We're fucked.
Nerf to Yorick passive done for low MMR gameplay. We can now move on to Bob.
Is that it? Wow, fucking hell. What a shuffle in the ass. Okay, so I did a little bit of calculating as well. So I made this spreadsheet. This spreadsheet basically shows what the math is on the current ghouls and what they will be on the next patch. So if you don't know already, they've reduced the ghouls AD ratio by 5%. Okay, so 5%, but it is 25 right now. It's going to be 20. Okay. They've also increased the base AD by 2 because, as Phreak said, Yorick is very low elo skewed. His win rate in low elo is enormous, but his win rate in high elo is not as high. They're trying to isolate why that is, and they think it's because of ghouls, which is probably largely a reason. So from the look of this spreadsheet, if I reset it and we set it to level 1, you can see Yorick's base AD at level 1 is 20. Normal people will run 10 AD and runes. And this is what we put in our items. So if you go in Cleaver, that's 40 AD. You can see the current patch ghouls will have 30 AD at level, let's say that's level 7-ish. 43 AD at level 7 with Cleaver. It'll now be 38. So you're going to lose 5 AD per ghoul, okay? That actually equivalents to 11% damage. But Phreak said 5. I'm not sure where he said 5 from. I'm guessing it's if you factor in armor. But even if you factor in armor, that's not exactly the most fair comparison for me because some champions stack armor, minions sometimes have armor, monsters don't have armor, but then some have armor, epic monsters have armor. So to me, it's just, I don't know if 5% is a good baseline to go off, but we'll run with it. It looks like in a standard full build for me, you're looking at around about 150 AD, 15 lethality. 15 lethality, and 30% armor pen. So it looks like these are the numbers you're going to be falling for. Around about that. So level 16, you're going to lose about 9% of your damage. But the numbers don't look that bad. They actually don't look that bad all around. If you're running lethality and you're running Slogdog's build, you're going to get hit a little bit harder because your damage output against tanks is going to be a little bit more annoying to deal with once you start stacking your lethality. I'm pretty sure this is what Slogdog runs at the moment. But all in all, it actually looks like it's pretty much the exact same between 8 and 13% damage reduction all round. I'm not sure where he got 5% from. I hope someone can pinpoint where the 5% came from. But with that in mind, I feel like there's an avenue here to discuss potential changes that will work. Now, if you actually look at Yorick's win rate, 53%, right? But let's actually look at an interesting one. Let's look at the win rate versus game time. If you look at the win rate versus game time, Yorick has a 60% win rate to win by 15 minutes. He also has a 58% win rate to win by 20 minutes. The problem seems to be after it hits 30 minutes, Yorick falls off. As soon as he hits a late game or mid to late game, his usefulness drops and he's useless. To me, this actually tells me that his level 6 power spike is too strong. And like phreak probably, like he said, minions are a large part of his kit. And when you know how to deal with that large part of his kit, it becomes easier to deal with. So what I would probably suggest is one thing that most people have said in my last video, because I read the comments and everyone was discussing it. The Maiden of the Mist right now actually raises minions, raises Mistwalkers from nearby minion deaths or monster deaths, right? Anything that dies near her raises a ghoul. That's because she disables Yorick's passive when she's around Yorick. What I would probably propose is maybe push that effect to level 11. Maybe let's turn Yorick into something like Kale, where Kale has a scaling avenue over a kit. Level 6 she gets an effect, level 11 she gets an effect, and level 16 she gets an effect. Maybe we can flatten this curve so that rather than him being so oppressive early and so weak late, we can take away some of the power early and then give him something new late. So that maybe this, instead of it doing this, we can make it do something like this instead. So disable the passive early, give it back to him at level 11. Maybe that'll make this go down to like 56%. And there's that fix. And even if that then keeps this curve, it's better. It's good. That's what we want. But I reckon you could probably skew this up a little bit by giving his ghouls something bonus at level 16. I don't know. Give him a little slow. Give him a tiny slow or stacking damage amplification. I'm a big fan of Ursa from Dota. If you don't know Ursa in Dota 2, whenever he attacks the same target in a row, he deals increased damage every time, and it stacks all the way up infinitely, right? Maybe give something like that to Yorick. Schools level 16. If you keep getting hit by the same ghoul over and over, they deal more and more damage. It kind of fits the whole zombie tearing apart someone. I like the idea of it. I've loved it from the start. So I think there's a lot of ideas that you can actually go through and do some positive changes to this champion that aren't just numbers focused. It just doesn't make sense to me. This champion does not need numbers changes. He needs actual redesign of his kit. And if you listen to the what phreak said in that video, it doesn't sound like we're going to get anything anytime soon. They're just going to keep numbers changing galore. And if you actually go back, and Camp Psycho always posts about this, if you actually look how many times Yorick's ghouls have been changed, it's insane. It's insane. At one point, ghouls had, is it here? No, this is well after. It would have been somewhere around here. Ghouls had ridiculous ratios on it. There you go. It's this one here. So they had at level 7. Oh no, that's post-nerf again. So that's post-nerf. So that at level 7, they used to have 20 AD base. Here was the initial one. Level 7 was 40. So they had 40 base AD with a 30% AD ratio. And Yorick was not broken on patch 7.14. If you went back and looked at the numbers, he was not OP at this patch. The reason he was able to get away with it is because split pushing was not as powerful as it was today. Split pushing is god powerful right now. When did Demolish come into this game? I'm interested. What patch did Demolish get added? Was that season 7? 7.22 Demolish. What was that? 7.14. So when this actually happened, Yorick didn't have all these avenues of emphasizing his split push ability. I'm pretty sure Titanic Hydra might not even have done damage to towers. We didn't have Hullbreaker. Once you started adding these things that let Yorick push the lanes out, let Yorick really punish people that misplay and do bad TPs or bad recalls, then all of a sudden, his win rate skyrockets. You bring down his ghoul damage, but his win rate's still high because people in low elo brackets don't understand that Yorick is going to push if you fuck up. And you fuck up. You don't attack the Mistwalkers first, Yorick kills you. You let your ghouls push top, Yorick fucking going to get towers. And this is literally what we got to today in patch fucking 14.20, 21, whatever it is. All that's happened is Yorick is just annihilating people that have bad macro and make bad decisions. And he punishes you for doing it, and you're seeing the exact results of this now. When did Hullbreaker get added in? Actually, that's a good question. When did Hullbreaker get added? season 11, right? So not even close to when Yorick was on the same power budget. If he was an OP here with significantly higher goals, then maybe it's not Yorick, maybe it's the game design and Yorick just happens to be inside it. Maybe it's all the other power that you can get in the game and Yorick's just suffering as a consequence because his kit's designed in a way, but now you've redesigned the game to allow all these extra ways of pushing and doing a split busher's job. I had a lot of people that messaged me saying like, well, what about Tryndamere and Trundle? Don't they just push and punish? Yeah, they do. I mean, no, I'm not saying they don't. No one ever says that Tryndamere doesn't punish or Trundle doesn't punish. What's Trundle's win rate at the moment? So Trundle's win rate right now is 51.6. What's his low elo win rate? 51.06. So Trundle is actually not a pressing low elo, but what's his skew? Trundle, on the other hand, has a different skew to Yorick though. Trundle's win rate early is actually lower. Probably because Trundle isn't dominating the lane as much as Yorick is at level 6. Yorick puts his R out, he's automatically winning the lane. It's a combination of having Yorick's ult be a bit too strong and oppressive, and Yorick having the ability to just gun down lanes and gun down towers and just do whatever he wants because no one wants to face him. No one's picked that lane matchup intentionally to counter the Yorick. So I'm hoping I can reach out to some riders and actually discuss this a little bit because, look, I don't want to get to the point where it's like, oh, listen to a one trick or listen to Yorick mains, because in the past, Yorick mains are the worst people to actually ask. Well, not Yorick mains, but champion mains are the worst people to ask about champion balance. Everyone that you speak to for Yorick will be like, oh my god, Yorick is balanced. Or Yorick is good. No, Yorick is overpowered. But everyone here wants Yorick to be balanced. But we just want the right areas to retain. And my biggest pet peeve is they're taking power away from ghouls. They're slowly turning Yorick into this massive bruiser. And I don't know if people want Yorick to be that much of a bruiser. I want Yorick to be a bruiser caster. I want him to be I have my ghouls do the work for me as well. I don't want to just be an auto Q resetter and use Trinity Force and hit people like a Nasus. If I want that, I'd play Nasus. I want to use my pets. I don't want my pets to be like Elisa's Spiderlings, where then they're just an accessory. You don't build your kit around the pets. Elisa's pretty much her cocoon with her E ability and diving towers and dealing heavy bursts that way. The Spiderlings are just an extra. I don't want ghouls to be an extra. I want them to be the main event. I want Yorick to keep his identity of permanent pets. Let's just see if there's a way we can transition him to be this kind of scaling champion instead. Take power out of early, give it to late, and I reckon there's a lot of potential with this champion. It's just right. I think maybe some time needs to be put into actually thinking about a mini rework, because this Band-Aid fix ain't gonna do shit. Anyway, I'll leave a copy of this in the comments below. Have a feel around with it. I don't know how accurate it is. I'm pretty sure I've done all the math right, but if you notice something wrong or incorrect, please let me know and I'll fix it. And thanks for watching, guys. I will catch you in the next video.